Good morning from Ivano Frankivsk, here in Ukraine. What's the strangest thing that's ever happened as far as coincidence in your travels are concerned? I mean, for me, there was something very strange that happened when I was in New Zealand, when a man said to me, "I remember you." We were in a hostel. It was, I think, 2019 maybe. I looked at the man and thought, I have no idea who you are, which is embarrassing. You know, you meet people in hostels when you travels, they recognize you, you can't recognize them, and you feel completely stupid. You feel as though you're being a little bit rude, even though you're not, because they remember you, but you don't have a clue who they are. I said to the chap, "I'm sorry, I don't remember you. I've been doing a lot of traveling," which was true. I said, "Can you refresh my memory, please? Which hostel? We were in the same dorm?" "No," he said. "Okay, so we were perhaps in the same hostel?" "Yes." Okay, this wasn't getting me very far. And I said, I'm sorry, where was it?" He said, "Singapore." I said, "Singapore? Really?" He said, "Yes." And I calculated, well, I'd been in New Zealand nearly 6 months. I said, "Singapore, that's a long time ago, actually." He said, "Yes." And anywho, it turns out, eventually, he coughed up that he had apparently just walked through the common room and I was there. We didn't exchange looks or conversation or anything at all, but somehow, I don't know what it could have been, but there was something that made him just remember me, which was a little bit weird because I didn't think I was that memorable, to be honest. I think you'd agree with me, wouldn't you, on that? Anyway, that was a sort of, would you believe it moment. A man remembering me from a hostel months earlier. And we'd never even communicated. Oh, hello, this is nice. Kind of a penny farthing thing, isn't it? Just randomly between two trees. I like it. Rusting away rather grandly. Now, the reason I mention this and pose the question to you, what's the most unlikely reoccurrence? Not a deja vu moment, but would you believe that happening? You know, something cropping up again after, yeah. Well, what happened last night? I was in the hostel, and guess who checked in? No, it wasn't Nick the Australian. Guess again. Think back to the previous videos. Remember, I'll give you a clue. When we were at the lake, do you remember that? And there was the couple I said who were seemingly just in front of me with their little dog. And no matter whether I paused, they paused, one of us turned left or turned right, our paths seemed to be intertwined. And lo and behold, that couple with their little dog checked into the hostel. Here's a nice mosaic. Some naive art. Very simple, of course, as naive art is. But you try and replicate it, then you realise, oh, actually there is something to this art, isn't there? His name, Gennady Bornashov. He was the author of a book. Sorry, Gennady, but you're here, the mosaic's here, you're remembered. So hopefully he did some good things, and maybe that book's a darn good read if you get a chance to find a copy. So yeah, last night in the private room we had the mystery couple and their little dog, and that's all there is to say about it really, other than what are the chances. Now today I have checked in desperation for those train tickets. You know, the lady said, oh, come back and check again the day before, and I was thinking, well, it's leaving it a bit tight, but okay. The last throw of the dice. Is there somehow going to be a train at a reasonable time tomorrow going to Chernivtsi? And the answer is no. There's just that inconvenient evening train which has plenty of seats, and who knows, I may yet need to fall back on that option if things go pear-shaped. But what I'm having to do now is accept it's more than likely I will need to go by bus. Yeah. Okay, I travelled by bus before. I've been a few hours on a bus here and there, in the Baltics in particular. It's not the end of the world, so I shouldn't grizzle, should I? However, I would have much preferred the train. For one thing, the train station is very conveniently located in the centre of the town. The bus stations aren't, not either here for departure from Ivano Frankivsk, nor when you arrive in Chernivtsi. You're stuck with having to add another 30 minutes at the beginning and also at the end to your journey. So train just under 2 hours, buses and connections over 4, sometimes even longer. What I'm doing is biting the bullet, walking to the out of centre bus station number 2, north west of the centre of Ivano Frankivsk. It's about a 35-minute walk. I'm putting that to the test. Here's fancy. There's always going to be a tree in the way, whatever angle you try and get it. Don't often see a church made of wood, logs in fact, and then the roof is tiled. I'm also a bit loath with some of the websites I've seen online. They look a little bit spurious potentially, so not wanting to give bank card details to websites which are claiming that they can sell me bus tickets, but when push comes to shove, I don't have any confidence in them. Therefore I thought I'll use this as my theme for the day. Not only get the exercise, but get the bus ticket sorted. The bus station itself looked very Spartan, I think we can call it. It appeared to be sort of a bus station which is just a big car parking space. Hopefully there's going to be a ticket office where I can purchase a ticket from. I've written down, using Google Translate, what my need is, the date, 1 ticket please, Ivano Frankivsk to Chernivtsi, departure time, arrival time. The cost I've left blank because it may be a different price to what's being shown on the internet. Information for 3 different potential buses, just in case they've sold out on my first choice and even on the second choice. One way or the other, I'm hopeful I can get a ticket. My first choice is for the fastest bus, which leaves at 10:30. That's a 2.5 hour journey, which is plenty long enough in my book to be stuck on a bus. No seats are allocated, apparently, that's what I read online. Righty-ho then. I don't think I'll be trying to clamber over that. I'll use the official crossing down here. No lights, at the mercy of the drivers, but I'll tell you what, I've been impressed. The drivers both in Lviv and in Ivano Frankivsk have been really good at stopping to let pedestrians cross the road. Little word of warning if you're walking along with my words in your ear, thinking, he said, look out for the church with the cemetery. Well, hold that thought. At the base of the hill, on your left, set back and behind some trees, I could see there were actually the onion tops of a church and what might be a little cemetery as well. That isn't the one you're looking for. No, you have to keep going and start ascending the hill. Just think of those calories you're burning. There's a very nice mural here, right next to the bus station. And over here, we've got the big church. Pretty new, I would say. Nature motifs on the side of those big buildings, which are also very new. Right next to the big cemetery, which isn't so big after all, is a memorial to the suffering through the ages of those in Ukraine. I think eye-catching and memorable. What do you think? The big church on the parcel of land behind. Here's the cemetery with the bus station beyond. There we are, it says no entry, which is fine because we've got some doors here at the front of this building. Let's see how we can go, and fingers crossed we can buy a nice ticket for Chernivtsi tomorrow. Well, that was fun. First casa I went to, the lady just didn't want to know. She acted like, what am I doing? I'd got the information written down nicely, so I tried a few words as well, but she was just, I don't know what you're doing talking to me. I don't sell tickets. She didn't say that, but that was the impression she gave, which was a bit disappointing, I have to say. So I then tried the second casa, and it's a completely different person. Just goes to show the difference between humans. She was able to tell me, no, she hasn't got the 10:25 bus on her system, but she does have a 12 o'clock bus available. And she sold me the ticket for 222 hryvnia, which is a very good price. And she told me, platform pierwsza, as she put it, platform number 1. This is where I'll be in 24 hours, or a little under 22 hours. And let's hope it's a nice big bus with plenty of seats and plenty of elbow room. I'm very glad I had the alternative buses written down on pieces of paper, just in case. It was fate, you see. That's why I wasn't meant to get that 10:25 bus. I was meant to have a bit of a lie-in for an extra hour and a half and get the 12 o'clock midday bus. Funny how the universe works, isn't it? A couple of things to bear in mind, I've just remembered. One was the lady couldn't accept my bank card. She said, essentially, in order to make payments using a bank card, I needed to go to the other woman who had been so unhelpful and dismissive and go to that casa. Therefore, I whipped out the cash. Ooh la la. So do have a bit of cash available on you for those occasions. I'm sure you do already. There are multiple occasions when you might find yourself in a situation where, no, they just can't accept the bank card, or the terminal isn't working in the establishment, so you have to pay with cash. Nice to have a bit of cash. Another thing to remember is, for the day of your travel, the bus driver may or may not want some money for your baggage. I really don't know, because this is going to be new to me. There are buses going from there, Ivano Frankivsk, bus station number 2, all the way to Warszawa, for example, in Poland. And you might be just wanting to use up your last hryvnia, and you've used it all up. You get to the bus station and the driver says, if you want to take your luggage as well, that's going to cost you. Another reason to have some cash. I'm going to look in at this little church. Couldn't get a view of it roadside because of the tree coverage. It might be interesting. Just had a feeling, you know. And as today is a bit of a lazy day for me, I have to admit, visiting train station, fail. Coming up here to visit the bus station without too much else on the cards, I thought I might come and just see if this little church has an appeal to it. Here's the church's opening gambit. A small chapel. Can I go in? Can I work this out? Yes, I can. I'm not as stupid as I look or sound. Or behave. Maybe. And who have we got here? The usual suspects are very nicely painted. And you've got this attractive old wooden church again. I wonder if this is sort of Carpathian style. Are we close enough to the Carpathian Mountains to make this possibly Carpathian style architecture? Is somebody going to suddenly say Ruthenian to me? Maybe not. No. Door's locked, which means we're not meant to go in. It's almost got the feel of a building which was somewhere else, like in an abandoned village or something, and got rebuilt. Often they show up in ethnographic Skansen parks, don't they? Such buildings. But I don't know about the history of this one. A nice little detour. That'll be nice when it's finished. Presumably 3 more heroes of Ukraine remembered here, all born around the same time and died in the same year, 1949. Which reminds me, I looked up the name of that young man who I've seen a couple of times in the city. And you'll remember, if you saw the last video, I was, among other places, in Memorial Square, and there was a statue of a young man. I mispronounced his name, apologies for that. Turns out he is Roman Hurek, a young man who in 2014 was in Kiev with his father, and when people were peacefully demonstrating against the government, the then president, Yanukovych, decided to, presumably it was him, order his snipers on the rooftops, in central Kiev to open fire on the unarmed civilians. Roman used his own body to shield a young nurse and tragically was hit by a bullet and died. But he will be remembered. There's a nice little chop up and change, don't you think? By crikey. Well, it's my last day in Ivano Frankivsk. I've done pretty much everything I intend to do, I think. Something else may occur to me later, but I don't think so. Just been to the supermarket again, Silpo. I've been switching between Silpo and ATB. Just went for Silpo today because I thought, yeah, get a couple of pieces of cooked chicken. There's still something nagging at the back of my head I may have forgotten. Oh yes, that's right. I've discovered that I've forgotten the shoe somewhere, and I think it must have been in transferring between hostels in Lviv. I've left a shoe behind, which means effectively I might as well leave the other shoe behind. I know what I need to do. Bit of research on how to get from that bus station, that out-of-town bus station, to the centre of Chernivtsi, and book myself a hostel dorm bed in Chernivtsi. Yeah, busy man. Thanks for watching. I hope some of it might have been useful in this video. If you are interested in knowing how to get to the bus station, if you're interested in knowing a little bit about what the hostel's like and the shopping's like, I'm spending about $6 to $7 a day on food and drink items, and that seems to be pretty regular. The accommodation here is $9 for a night compared to $7 in Lviv, which is interesting, isn't it? Lack of competition, you see. That's what it does. I have to look at the prices for Chernivtsi, see if they're going to be under $10 for a dorm bed. Hopefully. Let's go and look. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it or didn't dislike it. And if you haven't subscribed already, it'd be great if you subscribed. I could do with every subscriber I can get. Thanks very much. Until the next time, here's to Chernivtsi.